And thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Efrem Graham. Today on this special weekend edition, your car may actually be spying on you. New cars are tracking your driving habits and recording and sharing your personal information. We're going to explain what's going on and give you a look at how to protect yourself from this privacy nightmare. Russia launching deadly assaults on Ukraine this weekend. Can President Donald Trump's team work out a peace agreement, or will America just walk away from the peace process? We'll show you just how Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy is working to make America healthy again. And we're going to bring you a look at one of America's most famous inner city ministries, helping children stay off the streets and to find Jesus Christ. All those stories and more right now on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Let's begin this day with a story that could be affecting your life and you wouldn't even know it. Modern automobiles are technological marvels, offering many options for buyers. But privacy is not one of them. These new cars have become spies on wheels, and as hard as it may be to believe, even if you're just close to one of the vehicles, it could be gathering information about you. Hurt is on the story.
This may look like a car, however, it's more like a giant rolling sensor. From the tires to the entertainment system, tracking not only your driving habits, but recording personal information about you completely unrelated to driving. Modern cars have been called a privacy nightmare. Your car's number one job is to get you places safely. But its number two job is data collection. Your data. It's collecting it and sharing it. New cars can collect more data about you than anything else you own, including your cell phone, and for good reason. Driver data has been valued at $400 billion per year.
The saying in Silicon Valley is, if you're not paying for the product, you're the product. But what's strange with cars is that the average new car costs almost $50,000. You're still the product.
Andrea Amico is the founder and CEO of Privacy for Cars, which offers privacy solutions to the auto industry.
If you ask Americans how they feel about their car, they'll tell you it's an extension of their home. They feel it's a very private place.
It's far from private. A study by Mozilla's Privacy Not Included project found cars to be the worst product for privacy they've ever tested. The fine print on Nissan's privacy statement from 2023 says it may collect sensitive personal information including citizenship status, immigration status, race, national origin, religious or philosophical beliefs, sexual orientation, sexual activity, health diagnosis data, and genetic information. After an uproar, the company's most recent privacy statement omits the collection of sexual and genetic information. Security and privacy expert Thorne Klosowski.
I think that a lot of these privacy policies are written in a way that it just encompasses everything. So it's kind of hard to say on if they're actually collecting anything or if they're just written so that they could theoretically collect something.
Some new car owners have seen their premiums go up after their insurance company received their driving data.
Some stuff is more obvious. Am I slamming on the brakes really hard, or am I going through red lights when I shouldn't be? Some of them are a little bit less obvious. Which areas are you driving and what time are you driving?
The top automotive trade group in the U.S. says your car isn't spying on you, it's keeping you safe. The Alliance for Automotive Innovation says its members, which include most car companies, have pledged to meet or exceed commitments contained in the Consumer Privacy Protection Principles for Vehicle Technologies, which includes obtaining the owner's permission before using their data. Although during a car purchase, privacy may be the last thing on a car buyer's mind.
I bought a car recently, and it even took me, who pays attention to this stuff all the time, like a couple seconds before I realized what he was doing. And I was essentially agreeing to be sharing information with a third party.
Used cars have another privacy problem. This YouTuber said after selling his Volvo, the next owner never reset the car's security profile.
I can log in to my app and I can see every single place that new owner has gone. From the school their kids go to the church, to where they work, to where their house is, physical address right in the driveway. I know everything about them. All I have to do is an address search and I know exactly who lives there.
Then there are kill switches that allow dealers or the government to shut off your car. Some car dealers already use them when a buyer falls behind in their payments. A federal mandate for a kill switch in all vehicles sold after 2026 was embedded into the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Some in Congress want it removed from the law.
A kill switch in an automobile that would monitor the driving of a vehicle and then stop the vehicle from operating if the car itself decides that the operator is not driving safely.
I do understand that the technology is very near to being developed that would allow for a passive type of system that would detect when a driver has an alcohol concentration above a predetermined level, and that would not allow the vehicle to be operated.
Polls show an overwhelming majority of car buyers want to control their own data. Kluzowski says the first thing car buyers should do is shut off as much of the data collection as possible.
I would open up the settings of the infotainment system. I would start there, see if there's any privacy settings that you can change. Maybe look for any sort of indication that it might be sharing information with an insurance company or with a third party.
The old saying, buyer beware, has never been more true than when buying a new car. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Coming up, with the war in Ukraine now in its third year, President Trump says a deal with Russia could be close, but some critics warn the price for peace might be too high. We're going to bring you the story when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Despite a public statement from President Trump to Vladimir Putin telling him to stop, Russia unleashed its deadliest assault on Ukraine in nearly a year. And while the Trump administration pushes a controversial peace deal, new reports say foreign fighters, including Chinese troops, are now entering the battlefield. Brody Carter is on this story.
Mr. Prime Minister, we have about 5,000 young people a week that are dying in that ridiculous war.
In a cabinet meeting alongside Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre, President Trump took press questions about whether a peace deal is truly within reach and what it might cost.
You know, I started out because I didn't like all the money that we were paying, and then I realized how many people were dying, and that's by far the more important element right now.
The urgency comes after Russia launched its deadliest assault on Kyiv in 9 months earlier this week, killing 12 and injuring 90. President Trump responded online, telling Russia's Vladimir Putin to, quote, stop, and calling the timing very bad.
He's always playing everyone is really what we should know, because he's been in power since 1999 as prime minister, president since 2000, and he's developed really an iron grip on the state of Russia. Certainly when he's interacted with any previous U.S. president, there's always an angle.
Dr. Glenn Dürr, professor of international studies at Cedarville University, says any real breakthrough depends on Putin's willingness to back down.
We're putting a lot of pressure on Russia, and Russia knows that, and some people that are close to it know, or he wouldn't be talking right now.
What concessions has Russia offered up thus far to get to the point where you're closer to peace?
Stopping the war. Taking the whole country. Pretty big concession.
A leaked peace proposal from the Trump administration includes territorial concessions, including formal recognition of Crimea as Russian territory, informal Russian control over the Donbass, restoration of Ukrainian access to the Dnieper River, and U.S. oversight over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. Ukraine's President Zelensky drew Trump's anger when he said he can't agree to giving up Crimea.
This is a non-starter for Zelensky, but it is the negotiating position of the Trump administration. So it's 4 parts. Both would have to give up something, but that's the negotiating position that the vice president laid out.
As peace talks continue, the cost of war keeps rising. Norway has tripled its support, committing $8 billion to Ukraine. NATO allies have now poured in over $100 billion since the war began. But the threat of escalation doesn't stop at Russia's border. North Korea has already sent troops to fight with Russia, and now there's reports that America's top rival is now stepping onto the battlefield.
Ukrainian President Zelensky noted 155 Chinese soldiers on the ground in Russia. 2 have been captured in Ukraine and are prisoners of war. That is certainly an escalation.
Vice President J.D. Vance said that if both sides don't agree, America will walk away from the peace process. The president said he has a timetable in mind, but isn't giving any details. Brody Carter, CBN News.
Still ahead, the plan to make America healthy again. Robert F. Kennedy is taking on food additives, seed oils, and the entire scientific establishment. See how he hopes to end our chronic disease epidemic right after this. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced plans this week to remove 8 synthetic food dyes from the American food supply. It is just part of his overall mission to, quote, make America healthy again. CBN's Jenna Browder brings us the details.
For 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed that God would put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country.
Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says nothing is off limits. His first target, food additives.
Carrageenan, riboflavin, monosodium glutamate, and 20 others that I can't pronounce.
In March, the secretary met with the heads of major food companies, telling them food dyes must be phased out by the end of his term. Advocates like Vani Hari, also known as Food Babe, see this as a mom movement.
The Make America Healthy Again movement is the strongest movement in America because it contains moms.
She and others want America to follow Europe's lead and create far stricter food standards. Big Food pushing back, though. A memo from the Consumer Brands Association warning a ban threatens the industry's reliance on cheap, vibrant dyes to maintain product appeal and affordability. Kennedy has also announced the complete review of standards known as GRAS.
In 1958, the government created a designation called Generally Recognized as Safe, or GRAS, so that we can make common ingredients like salt and baking soda exempt from testing. But today, it isn't just salt and baking soda. Food companies and cooperative regulators have enlarged the GRAS exemption so that these companies can decide for themselves whether a substance is generally recognized as safe. No FDA approval is needed.
It looks like that will be changing, and restaurants are towing the line as well.
They said we are going to RFK, Steak and Shake.
Steak and Shake announcing it will now cook its iconic shoestring fries with beef tallow instead of seed oils. And then there's what HHS has dubbed Operation Stork Speed, the agency aiming to update American baby formula standards in a move to remove ingredients like seed oils and high fructose corn syrup. All of these moves generating excitement in the health world.
I'm a person that believes that this immune system that God made for us is amazing. It can stop so many things.
John Richardson founded Operation World Without Cancer.
They got rid of the WHO and they started the Global Wellness Forum. A very close friend of mine, Dr. Ed Group, is one of the people behind that. Marla Maples is on that team, and it's all about us bringing God-given, natural, not pharmaceutical, not patented drugs to the forefront, so that people can know we can heal so many of our problems, including our poor nutrition, by just bringing us back to a diet based on things that are natural and God-given.
Critics are less enthusiastic, though.
He has, since 2005, been the main megaphone of not only anti-vaccine claims in America, but anti-health science and conspiracy theories about health.
Most of the criticism surrounding Secretary Kennedy continues to be about vaccines.
His worldview is driven by an engine of conspiratorial ideation, where he must be right. Therefore, all scientists and doctors who express concern with the nonsense he comes out with are part of the conspiracy.
Kennedy maintains he's not anti-vaccine and recently praised the MMR vaccine in light of several measles outbreaks. So where does the movement go from here?
There is nothing else that's more urgent.
Katie Talento, an epidemiologist by training, served as a health advisor in the first Trump administration. She says one of Secretary Kennedy's biggest tasks will be to get his HHS employees, many of them career civil servants, on board with his vision.
I think they can be inspired by Secretary Kennedy's agenda. And as long as he sticks to the science and really respects some of their institutional knowledge about how to get these things done and what authorities that they have, I think he'll be able to.
In terms of what she thinks we'll see next, an update to dietary guidelines. She also wants Secretary Kennedy to address the childhood vaccine schedule and focus on how various agencies got so much wrong during the COVID pandemic. It's been a lot to keep up with since February. We should mention Secretary Kennedy has also taken on the issue of biological sex. In a guidance, he declared there to be only two biological sexes, male and female. In that same guidance, he added that human life begins at conception. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Coming up, if you build it, they will come. That is not just from the movie Field of Dreams. It is what Michael W. Smith heard from God 30 years ago. We're going to see how the singer built an outreach that's helping Nashville's at-risk children when we come back. Nashville is Music City. It's also home to one of the country's most famous inner-city ministries. Rocketown has a coffee bar, an indoor skate park, and a recording studio. For 30 years, it has been helping children to stay off the streets and help them to find Jesus. CBN's Wendy Griffith brings us the story now from Nashville.
Whether teenagers are into skateboarding, video games, need a hot meal, or just a place to do homework, they can find it here at Rocketown, an outreach with a mission to help young people experience the love of God. The mind behind Rocketown, now in its 30th year, is Christian music artist Michael W. Smith. He tells CBN that back in 1991, he literally heard God say,
"Build it and they'll come." And I kept thinking, no, that's the baseball movie. That's Kevin Costner, and I just kept hearing, build it and they'll come, build it and they'll come. And so I did a bunch of research and we had meetings and everybody said it would never work. And 3 years later, we opened up Rocketown in Franklin, Tennessee.
CEO Kenny Alonzo says their first priority is getting kids in the door.
If it's going to excite a kid and get them in the building, we're going to do it. And so once they're here, we get to love them and care for them and provide for them and try to be the hands and feet of Jesus. I know that's said a lot, but honestly, that's what we do.
Who's coming here to Rocketown?
We are within a mile from the most violent public housing community in the state of Tennessee. And that's saying something because Memphis is pretty rough. And we have a lot of kids that come out of that community, and they are here in their safe environment every single day. We've had everything from couch surfers who have a home but they don't want to stay there, to kids that live in storage units with mom because they don't have anywhere to go, and then some kids from the street and they just come in here because they can get warm when it's cold.
Ages here range from 10 years to 20, with a focus on high school students, like 15-year-old Lemmy Sanders, who enjoys skateboarding and working in the skate shop.
What does Rocketown mean to you, Lemmy?
Rocketown means, for me, is just being in a community that you do fun things for kids like me.
A safe environment, a fun place, and a great place to meet new people.
Another cool feature of Rocketown, a recording studio for those who feel called to the music industry.
That's a no-brainer to me. We have a lot of creative kids, and so this gives them an outlet to go in. And with technology today, you can do some pretty extraordinary things.
One of the highlights here at Rocketown is every Thursday night they have family dinner where everyone gets a delicious hot meal and hears an encouraging message. But tonight, one family got a big surprise. 25-year-old Donnie Gordon spent much of his time as a teenager right here. Now, married with a child and one on the way, Rocketown leaders knew his family desperately needed a vehicle. And thanks to one of their partners, the Gordons received this minivan. Did you see this coming?
No, I did not. This is a wonderful feeling. It's a blessing.
Speechless is the words. We could not have expected a better gift, especially to provide us transportation. That's all we needed.
In addition to a legit coffee bar and after-school program, Rocketown is most famous for its indoor skate park.
We started out as a dance club in Franklin, and when we moved downtown, we built the skate park. And so we've had a skate park down here for over 20 years. We went after kids that were not traditional athletes, that were not connected with extracurricular activities.
Ari works in the skateboard shop and drives over an hour to get here from Kentucky each day.
I came here for the first time probably last summer, and I don't know, it just kind of felt like a family right away.
I noticed that you were the only female out there skating. What is that like?
It's kind of different. So in Florida, we have quite a bit of females. There's only about 3 or 4 that I've seen out here. So it's different, but the guys are very uplifting. They're very nice, always push me. So it's super sweet out here. I like it.
And as far as sharing the gospel with these kids, Alonzo says,
our motto is you have to earn the right to speak into a kid's life, and that takes time.
Some of the background stories you hear, like a girl, her dad's in prison and her mom's a prostitute. What do you do with this kid? You just love on him. And a lot of people didn't understand our philosophy. They were upset with us because we weren't more direct about the gospel. And sometimes I think you have to earn the right sometimes, especially when you have a very troubled teen who has a lot of damage. They don't trust anybody. And so you have to earn their trust. And that's our methodology of just, we're going to love kids into the kingdom, but we're going to love them first.
Smith says the vision now is to take this idea to other major American cities.
People started hearing about Rocketown, and they would come and visit Rocketown. And would you please come and build one in Seattle? Would you please come to Minneapolis? Just a plea from so many people that said, we want to replicate what you guys are doing in Nashville and bring it here. Can you help us do that?
Alonzo says seeing these young lives changed never gets old.
I get emotional talking about our kids because we're not in this for a year. We're not in it for a lifetime. We're in it for an eternity.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Nashville.
Time now for your Friday Faithful, and today I leave you with this thought. There are 7 days in the week. Someday is not one of them. Stop delaying the work you know needs to be done. The life you're searching for is on the other side of the action you take today. Stop waiting for someday. It never comes. With that word, make this a wonderful weekend. Not someday. Make it today. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time as well as online, cbnnews.com. Take a moment. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Make it a fabulous Friday. We look forward to seeing you right back here, same time come Monday. Goodbye, God bless, and thank you so much for watching.